the academia sure is busy during the day. But where should we go looking for people that we know?
Traveler, Paimon.
Cyno! It's been so long since we last saw you!
Welcome back to Sumeru City. I'm delighted to meet you again. So, what brings you back here?
Oh, nothing in particular. Paimon just saw a really big mushroom out on the road the other day and suddenly missed all our friends in Sumeru.
Funnily enough, we were reminiscing about you recently too. It was at a group dinner. I look forward to hearing about your travels. Something tells me we must have a lot to catch up on.
Really? You were thinking of us too? What a coincidence!
Indeed. Or as I call it, the Biryani factor. You really want me to say the rest? Okay. It's always rice to meet stew again.
Oh, darn, he said it.
You like that one, huh? You must if you remember it after all this time. Admit the truth. You have long been in awe of my razor-sharp wit.
All right. Here's your 500 Mora.
You're exaggerating. It's only 500 more.
Hey, 500 Mora!
All right, anyway. I'm actually investigating a case right now.
A case? What?
Nothing major. But after finding out who was involved...
Need any help? We only came here to hang out, so we've got the time. You may as well take us with you and then...
Such enthusiasm. Are you worried I'll
What? No!
Obvious enough. Still, it's a fine idea. All right, follow me.
Try and stop me!
Do you see him? The old man flailing around?
Oh, is he the one you wanted to talk to about the case?
Correct. His name is Cyrus, a former Spontamot sage. He taught both me and Lisa.
Huh? Cyno's teacher is in trouble?
It's ridiculous. I'm just an old man who enjoys a spot.
Professor, I've brought some friends.
Ah, Cyno. Now who do we have? Hold on, let me think. My goodness. You must be the legendary traveler in Paimon.
Wow, looks like...
I've told him about you before. You are... That's right. A couple of days ago, Professor Cyrus...
A threat letter?
Exactly. Who sends a threat?
This is the letter in question.
Cyrus, I have uncovered your secret. If you wish to prevent... Secondly, don't come looking for me. You'll never find me. But I will always be... Wow, they sure didn't mince their...
Clearly, this person must be desperate for...
10 million more. I'm just a single retiree with nothing to my name beyond the tomatoes in my garden.
There were no witnesses. So currently the letter is all we've got. So, Traveler?
Paimon's ready too!
All right, take a look. Yes. Some of the strokes are...
So is there something wrong with the...
Possibly. And I bet the
Most of the paper around here is much smoother than this, and the ink is absorbed quickly so it doesn't run. This paper, meanwhile, it's...
It's certainly not the same paper as we use in the act...
So do we think the culprit has a... Wait! Check this out! Looks like this part got wet...
Agreed. The staining suggests it was a colored liquid.
A colored liquid.
Looks like we're thinking along similar lines. Let's go talk to Arof.
Mahamatra Cyno. Sir Cyrus. Ah, and the Traveler and Paimon.
As such, I'm inclined to believe that the culprit in this case is a student at the academia. Somebody young and strapped for cash. Oh, one last thing. I'd start your investigation by taking a look at the cafes in the city.
Oh, of course! You think the culprit spilled their coffee on the ladder, huh?
They do look like coffee stains to me. Also, if I'm not mistaken, the letter is written on a type of scented paper that has aromatics added during the manufacturing process. The kind often provided as writing material for customers in cafes and taverns.
Ah, of course. Yes, like they sell in the gift shops.
Understood. I'll assemble a team to investigate the...
You have my gratitude.
One last thing. Send some Matra to guard the entrances and exits of Sumeru City. And change into plain clothes. Don't let them see you coming.
Will do.
Great thinking, Cyno. So, where do... Yeah, they've probably been lying low at home.
You're right, Paimon.
Really?
The culprits approach. Whatever happens, they need this Mora. But just because they warned Professor Cyrus and crucially, the
Huh? Wait, are you saying...
Found you!
What are you doing?
You wrote the threat letter!
I don't know what you're talking about. What threat letter?
I sensed someone was watching us from the shadows the moment we entered the House of Dana. You managed to stay relatively well hidden for someone reckless enough to threaten Professor Cyrus. There are a lot of people here, but we were looking specifically for Arav. Whoever followed us the whole way was likely to be the culprit.
I was just listening in, that's all. You know something big's going down when Mahamatra Cyno shows up, right? So I got a little curious. What's the big deal?
You smiled when Arav left. I saw it as clear as day.
Is smiling a crime now?
There are coffee stains on the letter. You mixed some coffee with water, gently smeared it onto the paper, then wiped it off with a wet cloth. Closing off the exits to the city doesn't affect you, because the cafe was a red herring all along.
You can't pin this on me!
Really? Then what? The innocent have no reason to fear the Mach. Your heart's racing, and your eyelids are twitching.
I would never...
Don't try anything or you'll pay the price. Now come with me.
Well, that was over quickly. Cyno already caught the guy.
You're telling me. One minute I go out for a quick smoke, the next minute I see Arav already on his way back to meet up with Cyno. Looked like a young guy, too. Couldn't have been much more than 30. But after what he's done, I'm afraid he's ruined his whole future.
Everyone, it's all over.
Gosh, that was so fast!
The culprit's name is Uraka, a 16-year-old student in the Rataoish Darshan.
Huh?
16? Cyrus thought he looked 30-something!
We checked his records. He's 16, a third-year student.
But he looks so old.
Yeah, seriously.
Foolish child. He's too young for the criminal life. What the devil drove him down this path?
We questioned the culprit regarding his motive.
Oh, just spit it out. Nothing can
Very well. It's our understanding that Araka is a mediocre student who has been underperforming in his classes. He started taking extra down on his luck. He went to the tavern for a drink and overheard some people chatting about Sir Cyrus's comfortable retirement. They mentioned that he's always arguing about his tomato.
Some old woman on the street? Goodness gracious. Has that rascal attended a single one of his classes?
Is this going somewhere?
Oh, right, yes. So another thing. We don't just argue about tomato plants. And what are they trying to insinuate by comfort?
Maybe it's more the fact that you have the time to grow vegetables.
Araka mentioned he'd heard a rumor, alleging that Sir Cyrus illegally obtained a large sum of money from the desert. Araka believes this money to be the reason why Sir Cyrus hasn't kept up with any academic research or other
Oh, Araka. I'm at a loss for a word.
People make up rumors all the time. I am quite confident that Professor Cyrus has never—
Arav, you'll have to find some excuse to interrogate Araka again later. I need you to deliver a few firm fistfuls to him on my behalf.
I completely understand how you feel, Sir Cyrus, but I'm afraid that—
Professor, there's—
Oh, come on. I was...
Okay.
The academia will determine the appropriate disciplinary action against the student. And as for the individuals spreading rumors about the professor's obsession with
Who said I'm obsessed with some old woman on the street? You seem confused. Oh, don't you Uraka is just a young boy who made a very rash and very stupid decision based on some groundless rumor he heard. All it costs me is a little
Please rest assured, Professor, that the academia will issue—
Yes, I have no doubt about that. But as a former educator, I'd still like to have a serious conversation with the boy's parents. Their family lives in the city, yes?
Correct.
we looked into the family. Both parents are merchants and they're often away on business. They've never taken much of an active role in their children's lives.
Oh, what a mess. You don't have to seal the evidence away yet, do you? I'd like to have that letter back for the time being, if possible. And we have to show them how serious—
The relevant authorities have already reviewed the evidence and are now discussing Araka's punishment.
Oh, so you'll be able to cloak—
Give or take. Cases—
Very good. Well, thank you for all—
My apologies, Sir Cyrus, but I have a prior commitment.
Ah, I see. Well, that's a pity. But and isn't Tainari in town at—
Wait, you mean Tainari?
He is. Tainari's master, Sir Nephis, called him and Kale to the academia to help out on a— Though I must say, I'm surprised you're extending an invitation to Tainari.
Don't be outrageous. Nephis offends me all the time. It's never the other way around. Anyway, hurry up and fetch Tainari. I'll head over to the tavern with the Traveler and Paimon. Go on now.
Full throttle! Hip.
Not to brag, but we never had problems like this at Ratawa Hiss back when I was still teaching. And if you don't want to take my word for it, you can ask them. They were students at the time. They'll tell you what it was like, won't they?
I was out in the forest at least 4 days a week back then, thanks to a colossal workload from Master. Most of what I know,
Professor's become a lot more laid back in his retirement.
Wow. It's hard enough to stay true to your principles.
It's a pity Kale wasn't around at the time.
And then we'd have one more person who has to address Lisa.
Really? Can't you just call her Lisa? She seems to prefer it when people treat her like an older sister.
Oh, believe me, back when she was a student, nothing—
Whoa, more food? Are you sure about this? We don't want to take it to the end.
Oh, don't worry about it. Order whatever you like. And if it's not enough—
I thought I heard some familiar voices. And Sir Cyrus.
Oh, Kaveh, it's been a while. Zahahadi was—
I've been all right, thank you. You're looking very well, sir. I'm glad to see it.
Have you eaten yet? Care to join us?
That's awfully kind of you, but I had a late lunch, so I'm not really hungry just yet. I just came to Lombard's to buy some wine, and when I heard some voices So what's the occasion, anyway?
Consolation, more like.
Sounds like things have really gone downhill since I was there.
I can't believe how young the guy is. Oh, what are his...
Young people are always more susceptible to making rash, but still, this boy has some...
Wow, yeah.
I will always be watching you and all of your secrets. And...
If this were my son, he'd get the scolding...
Luckily, I'm...
Kave! Your order's ready, sir!
Coming. I'll have to get going. Have a nice evening, everyone. I'll catch...
Okay, bye-bye!
Here I am. The coffee beans are in here, too.
Yep, it's all there. I'll stop babbling away now.
Oh, too tasty. Paimon's belly is about to explode.
Oh, mine too. I'll have to walk home to burn some of it off.
Thanks for dinner, Sir Cyrus. Master Tighnari and I will bring you some homemade herbal tea next time. It'll do wonders for your sleep.
Well, I look forward to that. In fact, could I trouble you to bring a little extra for the other old folks on my street? I'll be the envy of the neighborhood.
No problem at all. I'll pack some up and bring it over.
I'll see you all later. I better head home now and tend to the crops.
Good night, Professor. Don't let those tomatoes keep you up too late.
Hey, my tomatoes are serious business. I am not about to be beaten by Zaha Hadi. Anyway, I'll be leaving now. Don't stay up too late now, children. I bid you all a good night.
Take care. Have a safe trip home.
All right. Now, we finally have some us time.
What do you mean, us time?
Well, I was talking with Tighnari and Kale, and since we all have some free time...
Camping? Oh, that sounds fun. Paimon's in! Right? It's been so long since we did something fun together. I can't wait.
Everyone, let's meet tomorrow afternoon at the riverbank to the southeast of... No need to bring anything. We've already packed everything for the trip.
You got it. We'll be...
Great.
Time to set up... We're here! Wow, you guys are ahead of the game. You set up the tents already.
I'd say we're right about on schedule, actually. We were aiming to have them set up before you arrived.
Traveler, Paimon, let's go fishing together. You got it. Dinner's on us tonight. I hope I can contribute too. The other Forest Watchers gave me some fishing tips a little while ago. I'm really looking forward to giving them a try.
I saw some very appetizing mushrooms in the area, so I gathered a few for us.
Wow, camping with a forest watcher is the way to go! They think of everything! And even if they don't, they can improvise!
This is true. I don't think I've ever had a single rough day in this forest.
So, how has everything been going for you?
Well, there's been some high points and low points, but we've had some unforgettable...
I see. Oh, in that case, you should try a valberry. I bought some from the market this morning.
A valuable suggestion. Just don't bury your feelings using food.
All I wanted was to recommend something bittersweet.
Oh, I have a sudden craving for fruit tea. I'm gonna go fetch some stuff. Bye!
She sure made a run for it.
Unbelievable. She made a run for it.
So Kale chose the path of tactical retreat. Could it be she foresaw what shall soon come to pass? My dear friend, you know what I am about to say. Excellent! A kindred spirit. But...
We got a bite!
I'll reel it in.
Firewood, spices, snacks, and drinks. Everything's ready. Once Kale gets back, we can light up the fire and start grilling. There are 3 tents. Which one do you two want to take?
How about the one on the left? Well, Paimon just thinks the ambiance here is
True. But it's also the closest to the water, if there are any sleepwalking fungi around tonight.
Well, that's no good.
Anyone would think you were sealing...
Excellent. Then this tent will be an...
I'm back! How's your appetites? Ready for the barbecue? Always. Oh, it smells so...
Someone sure is desperate to eat. I think it's...
Wait, what? Isn't that just for steaks? Hey, if it works for steak, maybe it works for other things too.
medium well for me.
Okay, these are about ready now then. It'll be a few more minutes for anyone who wants...
Oh, that was so delicious. If Paimon's stomach had space, she'd eat 3 more skewers. I ate a lot too. Here comes the food coma.
If you're tired, then go rest.
You must be getting sleepy too, Paimon. Why don't you guys head to your tents? Cyno and I will clean up.
Tonight I show you mercy. Our sacred duel will take place another day.
Good night. Paimon's struggling to keep her eyes open.
Oh, don't forget this. The Staff of the Scarlet Sands.
Wait, you were actually being serious about that?
It's a very powerful weapon. Try it.
Paimon can't even lift.
Fair enough.
sure. We'll be fine. And even if we do get an uninvited guest in the...
That reminds me of a parting king of invocations. But right now, it's time to rest. Sleep well.
I think they should all be here. Traveler? Paimon? Are you in there? Could you come outside for a sec?
Look at this.
What the? What's this sword doing here? Is it supposed to keep out intruders?
Evidently.
Huh? Who is it? Oh, what time do you call this? Paimon's gonna take out the sword. Yeah! Oh, hey them, Kave! What are you doing here? It's the middle of the night!
Sorry to wake you up at this hour of the night, but we've got a situation on our hands.
Let's get dressed and talk about it outside.
Something has come up, and since it pertains to Cyrus and Cyno, I deemed it essential to inform you all.
Whoa, back up. Let's start from the beginning. Huh? Where'd the wine cups go? I could have sworn I left... Ah, there they are.
I'll have a cup too.
Can you see if the cookies are still on the table?
They are, and so are the fruits.
Oh, this is so bland. I should have gotten a few bottles of what Cyno's group was drinking last night.
Do tell. What were they drinking?
Oh, right, I forgot to mention. So, I ran into Cyrus yesterday evening when I went to the tavern to pick up some things. Anyway, they got a bottle of Lombard's new vintage for the table. You know what it's about.
I heard some people talking about it.
I wonder what Sir Nephis and the others... Oh, Cyrus showed me the extortion letter, too. It was crudely written, but the paper had this beautiful pattern on it that I've never seen before. Really caught my eye. Give me a sec, I'll sketch it out for you. Okay, done. Take a look. You see what I mean? I don't think I've ever seen writing paper like this around before. God knows where the culprit got it from.
Interesting. These are all motifs associated with the tribes of the desert.
What? Really?
Take this, for instance. Looks like an outline of a spire, similar to the kind found on some ancient palaces. And the crisscrossing and mirroring here, I recognize that too. It bears a striking resemblance to an ancient...
Whose emblem is...
It's the emblem of the temple.
After discussing it with each other, we both agreed that something didn't feel right. So we went looking for... This was a long way to come from the city. Alhaitham figured you were probably with Tainari, so Gandar... Then, just as we were heading off to the campsite, we ran into Cyno. He said he was on a supply run. We exchanged a few words...
Hold on. So what's the deal with that emblem you were talking about? The Temple of Silence, you said?
Something's up, huh? Give me a second. Let me get Kale.
So you've never heard of the Temple of Silence? Well, to put it simply, it's an organization that has existed in Sumeru for over 1,000 years. These days, you can find a Temple of Silence office in the academia. Theoretically, it's responsible for, at least, that's what they tell the outside world. In truth, it's essentially a vestigial institution nowadays. Historically speaking, the original Temple of Silence is said to have been established by Hermanubis, one of the 7 pillars of King Deshret, and the Great. By contrast, none of the Academia Temple's current members are from the desert region, nor do they use any symbol.
So the Temple of Silence at the Academia is just a fake?
It's possible. The real question is, why? My guess is they're.
So, how do you know all this? Sounds like some pretty top secret stuff.
Did you forget? He did a stint as acting Grand.
Oh, yeah! Paimon did totally forget about that.
If you're asking me whether I familiarized myself with the documentation in my office.
So much about this doesn't make sense. Why did the emblem of the Temple of Students only 16, and doesn't have any family ties to the desert? So where could he have seen that emblem, or gotten...
You said you ran into Cyno, yes? Did you tell him what you've just told us?
Yep. He ran off as soon as he...
Given that Cyrus is involved, he's probably... Still, we should try to catch up with him. At this hour of the night, Cyno will probably go looking for...
If the Academia's Temple of Silence really does exist just to cover up the truth, we should pay a visit.
Yes. As the Sage of Amorta, my master ought to know the truth about their office. You can...
If this situation is connected to the real Temple of Silence, the emblem has to be part of a bigger conspiracy.
Kale, could I trouble you to send a message to the Core of 30? Tell them to keep an eye out for Cyno and Cyrus. Traveler, Paimon, you two come with me. We'll go after Cyno.
Sounds like a plan. Let's go.
Cyrus has been living in the city lately. He rented a place near the field so he can keep an eye on his tomato plants.
Then let's go!
Here we are. This is the place.
We might be too late. Looks like nobody's home. Oh, Cyno moves fast. If he was here, he's probably long gone by now.
I know that voice. Is that Tainari I hear?
Ah! Professor Zahahadi!
Wow, so it really is you. My goodness, whatever is going on tonight?
We're looking for Cyno. So, he's already been here.
Yes, not long ago, in fact. He knocked on my door and asked if I'd seen Cyrus today at all. I told him the old fool left early this morning, and I hadn't heard him come back. So we went to his place, and would you believe it? He's gone. Goodness knows where to. It must have alarmed Cyno, because he took off in an awful hurry after that. He never did explain what this was all about. How serious is it?
Well, if Cyrus isn't at home... Oh, it sure doesn't sound good.
Professor, did you hear that a student recently tried to extort Cyrus?
Why, yes. When I left the house that day, I noticed he was watering his flowers in the field in complete silence. I could tell something was troubling him, but he wouldn't tell me what it was. If Cyno hadn't happened to visit him that day, he'd probably still be holding on to that thing. After seeing the letter, Cyno told him to contact the Core of 30, but Cyrus was very reluctant. He claimed it would only damage his reputation. Eventually, he relented, after much persuasion.
Huh? Cyrus didn't want to report it? Well, that's strange when we saw him.
As a former sage, it's possible Cyrus still has enemies at the Academia. That's why Cyno was so insistent that he report the matter to the authorities. I was there while they were going back and forth over it.
So Cyrus initially hoped to stop this from going public. But why?
Oh, dear. What on earth has that old fool gotten himself wrapped? Oh, I almost forgot. Cyno left me this letter to pass on to you. He wrote it when—
Thank you.
What does it say? Let Paimon... My friends, this is a rather
Yep, that sounds like Cyno. Thank you, Professor, Traveler, Paimon. Let's head to...
Try and stop me! Rev the engines!
You're here? I thought you were going after... Ah, I guess you lost their trail.
We went to Cyrus's house. No one was there. Cyno got there before us, but
He didn't say where he was going.
No, he left us a letter.
Can't say I'm surprised.
Typical Cyno. Anyway, some updates on progress on our end. I drew the emblem from memory again, but in more detail this time.
I checked some ancient texts for a similar design. The one I found was a little blurry, but the similarities in the general form and certain details were clear enough to confirm a match.
Yeah, and we're lucky we found anything at all. It turns out the emblem was all but lost to history. We scoured the entire
Meanwhile, Arav managed to get Uraka to disclose his source. The one who told him about Cyrus's embezzled funds was a young man from the desert. According to Uraka, he had a striking presence and was well educated.
Apparently, the two met in the tavern over a game of cards. The guy claimed to be in the city for business as part of a merchant caravan. Uraka was intrigued when he heard what his new acquaintance had to say and brought up the idea of extorting Cyrus for Mora. The guy encouraged him to go ahead with it, then handed him some pen and paper to write the letter.
I see. So it could be that this person planted the paper intentionally.
So, how do we find this guy? Did Uraka say where he is?
He doesn't know. He claims not to have seen him since that day in the tavern. The man gave him some tips on how to carry out the extortion, but from then on, Uraka was acting alone.
Nephis and Arav have gone to meet the Court of 30 and review the city's entry and exit records. Also, Nephis admitted that the Temple of Silence in the Academia is just a facade. The true Temple of Silence once came to the rainforest to establish a collaboration with the Academia, but as time went by, the sages gradually became corrupt and foolish. The Temple of Silence felt that they could no longer trust the Academia and ended the partnership. They retreated. Ever since its inception, the Temple of Silence has been the guardians of King Deshret's civilization and belief system. At its roots, it was a legitimate and reputable—
The Academia of the day knew that the split would damage their reputation if it became a matter of
Not only that, but they managed to keep up the charade for hundreds of years!
So how did Cyrus become acquainted with the true Temple of Silence if they—
I'll bet that's the question that bothered Cyno. Probably why he—
Whoever is behind this, getting Uraka to extort Cyrus was only the first step of the plan. Their true goal in doing so was for Cyrus to see the emblem on the letter.
He must have recognized it right away. That'll be why he didn't—
Since the desert is where the Temple of Silence originated,
I have to go after him.
Really? Are you sure that's a good idea, with how you respond to the heat? Why do—
I should be fine, as long as I bring plenty of water. Besides, I just can't shake this—
Everyone, I have news from the Core of 30.
Master!
Oh, so that's Nafis, Tainari's master? Oh, we're finally getting to meet him in person!
It's a pleasure to meet you, Traveler and Paimon. Several independent eyewitnesses have reported seeing Cyrus and Mahamatra Cyno leaving the city at different times, Both were heading in the direction of Caravan Rebot. I was going to suggest that you join forces with the Corps of 30 in this case. However, as I'm sure you've already heard from Alhaitham and Kaveh, the Temple of Silence is involved. The Academia has made a number of decisions throughout history that I am ashamed to talk about. I won't attempt to make you understand the Academia's perspective.
I understand where you're coming from, Master. But I'm afraid the situation might be more complicated than we thought.
Good point. If Cyrus is involved with the other side, or worse, everyone, we have to get Cyrus and...
Need our help? Whatever you need?
Really? Wonderful. You have my most sincere gratitude. Arav and I will continue to follow up on the lead from Uraka. Kaveh, Scribe Alhaitham, I'd like to ask you to cover the duties of the House of Dana. Tighnari, you are planning to go into the desert, correct?
I am. Kaveh, I'll be okay. You stay behind to help Master and Alhaitham.
Well, if you're sure. Okay. But be careful.
Thank you all. Arav, let's go.
You'd better get moving. Don't forget to ask for help when you need it.
Will do. Let's go, Tighnari. Hopefully we can catch up with Cyno before it's too late.
Knowing him, he's probably covered a fair distance already.
Okay, we made it to Caravan Ribat. Where should we go next? Maybe we should ask the nearby guards if they've seen...
Hold on. Look up.
Is that Dia?
You sure you want to brave the desert alone? I mean, it's your choice at the end of the day, but still.
It's not my first time. I'll be fine.
Cyno.
If you're really going to go through with this, then at least take our advice. When you're packing for your trip, budget for 5 days more than you plan to spend out there.
Makes sense. Okay, I'll go get ready.
Thought we might find you here. You're trying to retrace Cyrus's steps, aren't you?
Didn't I tell you not to come after me? I thought I had a good lead on you.
Well, sorry, but we never agreed to that. Why would you go off on your own like this?
Nothing personal. It's just a complex situation. And I...
Takes a special kind of person to get Cyno chasing them all the way out to Caravan Rebot. But why so coy today, huh? You only gave us his age and description. Why can't you reveal his name? Is he Sumeru's most wanted or something? Oh, also, hey guys, it's been a while.
Dia and Candace! So nice to see you. Actually, seeing all of our friends is the whole reason we're here.
You're looking well. Glad to see it. Candace and I came to Caravan Rebot on business. We ran into Cyno as he was asking about some elderly gentleman's whereabouts. Some people say they saw him. Guess he stood out as an older guy heading into the desert alone with just a sumpter beast in tow and very few supplies. That's gotta be one heck of a story there.
Cyno, it's okay if you can't tell us anything about the case, but let us know how we can support you. We're here to help however you need. The more people we have working on this, the quicker we'll be able to find the person you seek.
No, it's not that simple. If I'm right, he'll be doing everything he can to avoid us.
We spoke with Zaha Hadid. From what she said, it's pretty clear that he wants to try and solve this on his own. It won't be easy trying to find him in the desert when he's deliberately trying to cover his tracks.
Sounds like this is far more complex than we imagined.
Still, if he started from Caravan Rebot, the chances are that his route took him past our village.
My thanks to you both.
Come on. No need to get all serious.
That's a deal.
All right, so, you all set?
Yes, we'll handle it from here. Thank you again for your help. I don't take it for granted.
All right. Then we'll leave you to it. Just remember, if you change your mind and need some reinforcements, we'll be here.
And don't think you'd be imposing. You can depend on us.
Don't worry, we'll keep him out of trouble.
Hold on. There's a few things I'd like to clear up.
Go on.
So, after you left the
Clearly, we've only scratched the surface of the Temple of Cyno.
Do you have any connection with...
I do. I trust you're all aware of the spirit that gives me my... Due to my unique constitution, I was put through a number of trials in the desert when I was younger. But my memory of that time is hazy. I can't recall. It's a good thing that Kaveh noticed the emblem on the letter. Without that, I don't know if we would have connected the dots. And I did not recognize that symbol at all. Whether that's because...
Yeah, you're right. Thank goodness for Kaveh, and
But Cyrus must have recognized it right away, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't have had any qualms about you reporting it. Oh, maybe his connection to the Temple of Silence goes even deeper than yours.
I suspect so too. Professor has never once mentioned the Temple of Silence in conversation. And whenever the...
Well, speaking of avoiding things, you do realize, don't you, now that we've caught up with you, you're stuck with us for the rest of the way.
I am aware. Or rather, I don't see how I could manage to ditch you en route.
That's right. Fact is, we're coming with you whether you like it or not. So
Fair enough.
Works for me. All right, off we go. Let's start by seeing what the guards here can tell us.
Hello.
Mahamatra Cyno?
I'm looking for someone. So I'd like to...
A man matching that description passed by Aru village not too long ago. He stopped by to...
Where was he going?
Let me think. He took a seat by the entrance of the village for a while, and do you have a map? I can mark out the direction he was heading and the best routes to any nearby oases.
I have one. Mark away.
Great. There you go.
Thank you so much. You were a great help.
you've got a really good memory.
Ah, you're quite welcome. Just doing my job. Best of luck. I hope you find him soon.
Sand is the natural enemy of fire and civilization. In the desert, ruins are all that remain to tell the story of the past. Weather like this is perfect for enjoying the outdoors. Want to go for a spin? Here, hop on.
Hold on. I see some people over there.
Do you think it's safe to ask them what they know?
Should be. I'll go...
No. I'll do it.
Huh? Why can't Cyno go talk to them? What difference does it make?
Given my background, appearance, and the way I dress, I might not be the most welcome visitor here.
Ah, hello there. I hope I'm not interrupting. My friend and I are looking for an elderly man who's gone missing around these parts. Any chance I could ask...
Oh,
A missing person, huh? Sure. What do you want to know?
I'm just wondering if you've seen him. Let me give you...
So, a silver-haired guy in a long robe, culture type with thoughtful eyes.
He'd stand out like a sore thumb around.
Yeah, sounds like the kind of guy we'd remember if we saw him.
He's looking behind me.
Uh-oh. That guy's looking our way.
Your friend over there stands out a lot, too. Hey! Aren't you Cyno, the General Mahamatra?
Yes, that's me.
You don't seem surprised that I recognized you.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Oh, you're the one looking for the old man who's gone missing, aren't you?
I have a bad feeling about this guy.
Someone's on edge. You don't trust me much, do you? No need to hide it. I understand why you're wary of us. Still.
I thought you were a group of
Your henchmen don't look like much.
Hey! Hear that?
Suits me. As long as I get paid.
Just cut to the chase already.
Alright, come with me. All of you. Don't you want to find silver-haired, long-robe, culture type?
So you know where he is?
Just follow me. And here.
What? Where are you looking? There's nothing.
Please step back.
Ooh, something's coming out of the ground!
What is this enormous building doing here?
And how was it so well hidden?
Wait, so... Hold on, who are you guys really?
Is this the Temple of Silence? So you're a member?
All good questions.
This is not what Paimon was expecting to find in the desert, especially not hidden right next to an oasis. Ooh, Paimon's scared. They must have kidnapped Cyrus. Do you think this is the guy who
What's wrong? Thinking about your professor?
I just hope for your sake you haven't done anything.
Me too. Hope I haven't done anything to Alright, you can wait here for now. I'll inform our leader that you've arrived at the Temple of Silence. Sit tight until he comes to greet you.
So he's just gonna leave us here unattended?
They can't have been at the oasis by chance. They were waiting for us. Whoever the leader is here, they were obviously counting on us showing up.
So this is the Temple of Silence. After leaving the rainforest, they hid themselves here?
Hey, look! That guy's coming back.
Don't worry. Someone will come and call for you soon.
What's your name?
Sorry, guess I was. My name is Sethos. I'll be here if you need.
So we're free to.
Yep. I mean, I'm not worried about you running off. Cyrus is here. And unless I've misunderstood.
He's right. I never imagined that the true Temple of Silence would be hidden somewhere like this.
That's King Deshret's technology for you, I guess. It borders on the miraculous. Amazing to think that it's been preserved intact all this time.
We should be wary of our hosts.
Hey, Setho.
Sure. Although, I'm assuming by chat, you mean you. Not often. The Temple of Silence is a place of quiet and solitude. We don't get too many visitors. Yes, that was me. He insisted that nothing was off the table.
So you framed Cyrus?
No. That's not entirely. Of course. Uraka was a great accomplice.
Why did Cyrus leave?
You'll have to ask him that one yourself. All you need to know is that he recognized our emblem. What kind of question is that? He's the
Right, but back at the Oasis, you can't have known who he was.
I've lived in the desert my whole life. Guess you could.
Ugh. Why does Paimon feel like this guy's not being straight with us?
Come on, we've only just met. If I give you all the answers up front, you'll have nothing left to look forward to. Nope.
Really?
I have no need to go there. Not when the taverns are full of the Urakas of this world. Besides, we're well aware of what goes on at that place. Spies? It's not as clandestine as that. The city gates are wide open. Mm-hmm. Ah, here he is. Grandfather, the person you wish to see is here.
Well done, Sethos. Greetings, one and all. I am Ba Moon, the current leader of the Temple of...
Professor!
Cyrus, are you okay?
Watch what you're doing!
Oh, my apologies. We have no intention of causing you distress. But you must understand, Cyrus is of great Cyrus owes me his life. And to the Temple of Silence, he owes a debt of gratitude.
I wanted to end my feud with this old bag of bones before you caught up with me. Just leave, Cyno. This is a matter between us two old men.
So that's why you didn't want to report the letter. You'd made up your mind to come here from the beginning. You only left in such a hurry to try and throw us off your...
Some things in life catch up with you, no matter what you do.
Cyno didn't make us do anything. We came here for the same reason he did. To rescue you.
My secrets are secret for good reason. Bringing them to light can only lead to misfortune.
You're afraid, aren't you? You can't bring yourself to speak of your past deed. You recognized our emblem because for many years you lived among us. You knew as soon as you saw the letter that we, not Uraka, were the ones speaking to you. It threatened you only because you know what you did. Your own guilt convicted you. For you, Cyrus, are a traitor. You once shared your... But then you betrayed us. You bargained for your independence with your past contributions. And then you left taking with you Hermanubis' might and the wielder of his power. We both know what I said to you that day. That as the leader, I grant you permission to leave, but that one day, the sands of time will catch up with you. And when that day comes, you must pay the price you owe.
You really know how to hold a grudge.
Hermanubis' might? And the wielder of his power?
Does he mean you?
Professor, anything to say?
The moon is right. I came here once before. He rescued me from the brink of death once, many years ago in the desert. When he learned that I was a scholar, he invited me to come here and revive the might of Hermanubis together. It was a great, daring plan, and one shrouded in secrecy. The Temple of Silence had been bereft of Hermanubis for too long. The strength of its faith and its warriors were waning. Bamoon proposed that we implant bar fragments, shards of Hermanubis, into the bodies of suitable vessels. If the experiment was successful, the spirit of Hermanubis would then dwell within them. Many believers volunteered themselves for the One other child was identified as a suitable...
For many years, the Temple of Silence had been in possession of 2 Ba fragments from Hermanubis. The test subjects were sent into a room that had been prepared for the ceremony, and the original plan was for a 3-stage experiment. As the second stage began, I realized a decision had to be made. Should we implant the fragments one at a time? This would allow us to monitor the results after the first round and adjust our plan accordingly. Or alternatively, we could implant each fragment in a different vessel at the same time and compare their effects. But as I was deliberating, both Ba fragments suddenly became active. They glowed. Our 2 vessels had both displayed great to preserve our faith and our power.
Ultimately, I ended the experiment.
In recognition of your past contributions, I chose not to send someone to hunt down and kill you both. I have always wanted to see you, Cyno. Losing you...
I see. So...
Look, in essence, I borrowed your Ba fragment for a decade or so. And now you are seeking justice. But you cannot lift a finger against Cyno. He is the General Mahamatra!
I'm sure you don't remember anymore, dear Cyno, but you've met us all before. You were so young then. You and he, Sethos. You were our final...
You'd like me to return my power?
As a follower of Hermanubis, I have allowed this power to remain in the rainforest for far too long. Now, it is time to...
That power is not yours to reclaim.
You are wrong. Cyno was chosen, but he was not the only one. My child...
So those are your terms for freeing the Professor?
Despise me all you want. My sins are my own. The Temple of Silence is an innocent party. It is because of my foolishness all those years ago.
So what you're saying is, the power of 1 Ba fragment is not enough? You're asking me to return the one in my possession, so it can be implanted in him instead?
Divine power causes great suffering to those who wield it. How do you know that Sethos would be able to withstand?
He is no longer a small child. But regardless, this burden is ours to...
Both my heart and mind are telling me that what you are proposing...
Don't listen to him, Cyno!
I know. But if this is a question of your freedom versus a fragment of...
Sorry to interrupt, but in my view, there are a number of contentions here that still need addressing. Say that Cyno refuses to return his power, and you also refuse to release Cyrus. Then, we are at an impasse. I find it hard to believe that you went to all this effort without planning for that possibility. You're trying to gauge where we stand while keeping your remaining cards close to your chest. Well, my stance is, put the rest...
Wait. those ears. So, we have a descendant of the Valukashuna. Everything we have longed for, Hermanubis will provide. Perhaps this very day we'll...
Why is he coughing so much? He looks like...
Pamoon, you...
Take our leader back to his room. Grandfather, I know. I don't like to drag out conversations, so I'll just cut to the chase. Had Cyrus not stopped the experiment all those years ago, the plan would most likely have been a success. Still, it's no use talking about what-ifs. I'm not like my grandfather. The Temple of Silence has a grand legacy and a sacred duty to... But I see things a little differently. I don't believe the temple has the same stature that it once did, so I'm not going to force your hand. You're all free to leave. Except for some.
You have courage and wise judgment, kid. Reminds me a lot of Pamoon and his... I truly wish that the temple would take an objective look at the academia of today. And things will only continue to improve.
If you hadn't betrayed my grandfather, I might well be open to persuasion.
Tighnari made a good point earlier. He said there has to be more to your plan than all you and Ba Moon are after is the Ba fragment. The professor will accept whatever fate you deem fit for him out of a sense of guilt. Ultimately, you want to trade the Ba fragment.
I'm glad to see you're giving it some serious...
I won't forsake my professor, nor do I intend to run from a problem that I'm...
That works. Oh, my grandfather still has a fair few things he wants to say to Cyrus.
Are you sure about negotiating?
I need to think this through. Everyone, let's meet again later tonight. Until then, take some time for yourself.
Alright, well, don't put too much pressure on yourself, Cyno. If you need any help working things out, just come and...
I've taken some time to reflect on this. If I had to guess, Professor Cyrus came to the desert knowing that he would all... He's a stubborn man who tends to double down when he feels strongly about something. We won't get any...
I agree. My master Nephis says the same thing. Once Cyrus makes up his...
So that's one thing. A few other... You've heard all you need to hear about the Temple of Silence. So on that, I don't have... My own memories of this place are hazy, though. Probably something to do with the overpowering presence of the Ba fragments. That might explain why I suffered from constant headaches, and I do remember having some fleeting moments of profound emotion when vague images would appear in my... I was still young then, and all I could understand was that there was a strong will inside my mind. Thinking back on it now, I suppose it was Hermanubis' way of trying to encourage me, even if we couldn't communicate. The power that came to inhabit my spirit was probably one of the cornerstones of their whole faith. So if the will and might of Hermanubis...
You're not gonna give in to their demands, are you? Surely there has to be another way!
No. I have no intention of returning it. I need this power to protect Sumeru. So I will challenge them head-on, and win the right to wield this power for myself, fair and square.
This reminds me of something Alhaitham mentioned to me just before we left. He said that Kaveh has made similar observations about the desert tribes from his work trips there. He says many of them have their own internal rules. They talk about the importance of never dishonoring their tribal bonds, or I think we could turn that to our advantage.
Wow, and just like that, we've turned the tables on.
Looks like we have the same idea. Turn it back on them now while we still can. In turn.
Great. And I know just how to start the conversation. Let's go find Sethos. We'll tell him that I know a thing or two about medicine and would like to...
Try and stop me!
Sethos, let's talk.
Have you made up your mind?
We'll get to that, but first, I have some degree of medical training, so I was wondering if you might let me take a look at your grandfather?
I have no objections, although we do have our own doctors here. I doubt you'll be able to tell us anything we don't already know.
Only one way to find out.
Follow me. Keep your voices down. We don't want to disturb him.
Let's talk outside. Bamoon has fallen into a deep coma, and his prognosis is quite grave. He appears to have sustained a serious injury in his youth, which has been exacerbated over the years by the heavy burden of work and now by the effects of old age. Regretfully, I must inform you that, based on what I've seen with patients in a similar condition, he doesn't have long left.
Yeah.
You're his heir, aren't you? You clearly have a lot of respect for the man. But you also see things different, so tell me how we can end this on your terms. Let's find a way to bring all this to a resolution while
Yeah, there's no time to waste here.
You know, the two of you are actually in a very similar predicament right now. Both of you...
Right. And you didn't create this situation. They did, but somehow you've...
You're right. We both look at this problem very differently. I accept, Cyno. This all began because of Hermanubis. So let's end it with the rite he himself created. Legend has it that when Hermanubis first arrived in Tuletula, he sparred with the city's residents. He and his that group of supporters were some of the first members of the Temple of Silence. And the sparring matches were...
Sounds very fitting.
As a fellow vessel of Hermanubis, your ties to the Temple of Silence run deep.
3 against 3.
However, I have some additional terms. As the challengers, you must win all 3 of your fights to win. And Cyno, both of us must put our Ba fragment on the line. The winner takes them both. Letting Cyrus leave with one of the Ba fragments was a mistake, made by my grandfather out of pity. It is a long-standing issue that must be addressed for the Temple of Silence to move forward.
None needed. We're on the same page. If I win, the Temple of Silence must release Cyrus, and consider this past dispute resolved. If you win, I'll return my power to you.
It's a deal. Then let's meet at the ceremonial hall tomorrow evening.
Well, after how that went, there's definitely no turning back now.
There never was. Turning back hasn't been an option for me since the moment the professor slipped away to return to the desert.
You have to win. You need this power, both as General Mahamatra and for yourself.
Yeah, that's right! Besides, it stayed with you ever since you were a small child. Surely that's a sign it thinks of you as its rightful owner.
Both as General Mahamatra and for myself. Yeah, When you put it that way, I've had to overcome a lot to tame this power and claim it for myself. Not everyone could have done that.
Exactly!
The Traveler and I will never lose.
And neither shall I. The desert was home to an ancient and great civilization that, for a variety of reasons, fell out with the civilization of the rainforest. But there must be personal factors at work here too. I can't shake the feeling that Bamun cares for many more things than he lets on. And I don't think that Sethos is any kind of villain. He's just doing what he thinks is best. Tomorrow.
We gather on this day to perform once more the rite of duels, with the greatest of all sages, Lord Hermanubis, as our witness, for his power and authority is present in our midst. This is our most sacred of ceremonies, and no disruption from the audience shall be tolerated. It is incumbent upon all to observe the duel with the utmost respect and reverence throughout, representing the
Grandfather, you're here.
A rite of duels after all these years. I am surprised by your decision, Sethos.
I know what I'm doing, Grandfather. Just leave.
Representing the Academia, the Challengers.
Ready. We will fight to have our voices heard.
Warriors, take your positions and decide on the order. We come not to debate what brings our challengers here, nor what will become of the defeat.
Huh? Are you sure?
I agree. She's very strong. Sending her out...
Okay.
Sure.
We have decided.
So have we. Let's begin.
Duelists of the first bout, please step forward.
Don't forget, safety first! Hey, you there! You better play nice with her, or Paimon will make you regret it!
A little bit too much chatter from the audience over there.
Hey!
A swift end to the first bout. I know when you're both ready, you may begin.
Let's begin.
Watch out!
He drank plenty of water before the bout, so he should be fine.
Yeah. Let's nip that in the bud.
Thus ends the second bout. We will now move to the...
I'm ready.
So am I.
This is the final stage of when you're both.
I am Sethos, vessel of. For many years, we have kept our covenant with Lord Hermanubis by guarding the secrets of King Deshret. And even in our darkest hour, when we could not see a way forward, we earnestly sought Lord Hermanubis's. Now, I will fight.
I am Cyno, General Mahamatra of the Academia, student and successor of Cyrus, the Sage of And you. I think you left some things unsaid. This is a sacred duel, and Hermanubis is watching.
Everyone, old and young. My grandfather is a wise leader. He is also known, but our faith has held us back for too long. After I grew, times have changed. The people of Sumeru are happier and more free now than in the past. Then I thought of you, Cyno. You and I, each Ba fragment of Hermanubis stands for something different. Might, glory. I once thought that the nature of our fragments must be what—
I am more than just a warrior. I am my own person.
Exactly.
The name Hermanubis has left its mark on both of us, shaped the course of our lives. We are his vessels. So show me your answer, Cyno. Show me I can be more than my faith, more than the power I wield. Bring it on!
That's all you've got? What happened to searching for your answer?
Fight's over. Do you yield?
You won.
Well then, looks like you found your answer.
I give his glory to you.
I've seen that light. That is the light of our Lord, the great Hermanubis, priest over all other priests. His spirit dwells within that lightning, and his will lives on. Once a warrior of Tynar, he emerged from the barren desert sands to serve the god king Al-Ahmar. After the death of the God King, Hermanubis gathered his followers and the Tainarian priests and led them to the city of Tula. There, they founded the Temple of Silence, and from that day forth, we became stewards of all knowledge that survived from King Deshret's civilization. Barely a century passed before war ravaged the desert. One by one, Eremite leaders took up arms against each other in battles that would devour what little remained of their civilization. Only the wise city of Tula was spared under the guiding hand of the Tainarians. But peace did not last. Coveting the knowledge of King Deshret, the beasts set their eyes on Tula. The king of Gurabad laid siege to the city and ordered the sages to surrender to him the Temple of Silence as proof of his victory. The ruling elite colluded with their oppressors, betraying the temple so as to hold on to their rule over the city. They declared that the knowledge guarded by the temple was the true cause of corruption. These were dark days, and we faced enemies on all sides. Our Lord had long since exhausted his strength, keeping the forbidden knowledge introduced by King Deshret at bay. To ensure the temple's continued survival, he broke his being into many pieces and began the ceremony of Hermanubis' legacy, bestowing his power upon his mortal followers. With this power, the temple was able to defeat the tyrant's army. Yet, we were not hailed as heroes. Strange and unfamiliar as this power was, it struck fear into the people's hearts and drove them to reject us. In the end, the people of the temple and the Tula Tainarians left the city for good and made their way to the rainforest. What followed next was inevitable. The elite of Tula fell and were decimated. War engulfed the desert. And we wandered from place to place, always in hiding, all the while keeping close watch over our secrets and staying true to our mission. Betrayal forced us out of the desert and into the forest. Then mistrust drove us from the forest into the desert once more. We have lived in exile for far, far too long. Yet, today, the Temple of Silence has borne witness to the glory of Hermanubis once more. Thank you.
How is it? Do you feel okay?
Grandfather.
Hey, Sethos. You'll get through this.
I know. I'll miss him.
I guess you were prepared for this. It's been a long time coming, huh?
Yeah, he's been on death's door for a very long time now. I think it was only through sheer willpower that he managed to hold on to this point. At least, he was able to see this chapter come to a close before he passed.
What's next for you?
Per my grandfather's last wishes, the Temple of Silence should submit to whoever possesses the largest number of Hermanupis fragments. That entitles you to be our new leader, Cyno.
But that's never going to work, as I'm sure you realize. I'm the General Mahamatra. I am needed back at the Academia. I did foresee this possibility, and I gave it some thought. The fact is, I know next to nothing about the staff, records, and environment here. As such, I am ill-suited to be your leader, Sethos. I believe the honor should go to you. Were it not for this duel, or indeed if you had other intentions, the Ba fragments would most likely be in your hands by now. I'm sure Bamoon never meant for anyone but you to be his successor.
You really think so?
I do.
Still, I didn't think Bamoon looked very surprised by the final result. Perhaps he had an inkling that this would be the way things end.
Well, in any case, since the Ba fragments are with me now, I guess I can call the shots. Sethos, I would like you to succeed Bamoon as the new leader of the Temple of Silence. You are more suited to the role than I, and I have complete faith that you will be an excellent leader. Just think of it as doing me a favor.
But doesn't that render everything that we've been through up to now meaningless?
No, it doesn't. This experience has allowed us to become friends, which means that the Academia and the Temple of Silence will become partners once more. That's a much bigger deal than you might think, Sethos. You said yourself, times have changed. You have to believe that things can change for the better here at the Temple too.
I will try. To be honest, I couldn't have asked for a better outcome.
Actually, part of me wonders whether Bamoon's intentions from the very beginning was just to create enough pressure to force us towards a duel. That way, no matter who won, one of us would have to surrender our Ba fragment, and the power of Hermanubis would be concentrated in one single person. Had you won, the Temple of Silence would have doubled its strength, and were I to win, he correctly anticipated that I wouldn't suddenly drop everything to become the leader of the temple, much less integrate the temple into the Academia by force. He knew that the temple's future would depend not just on the guidance of Hermanubis, but the support of the Academia too. So he made it his responsibility to ensure his successor would be free from the burdens of the past. His plan meant that whoever ended up succeeding him, they would have an easier time interacting with the Academia. With one single letter, he lured out the professor. No matter what happened after that, it would result in a net benefit to the temple.
And here I thought the General Mahamatra wouldn't care for all these trivial details. You're absolutely right. Grandfather and I considered this from every angle. We had to find a way to mend our relationship with the Academia. In that sense, the right of duels was just a means to an end. Thank you for everything, Cyno. As a gesture of our gratitude, to those that you and Lesser Lord Kusanali deem worthy, I will grant the honor of access to the Temple of Silence for their pursuit of knowledge. The Temple of Silence has a wealth of information on King Deshret's civilization, more than any other organization in existence today. In times when you need information that only we can provide, we will be here to support you. But you must be exceedingly careful with your selection of candidates, lest you lead humanity to repeat the same mistakes. By the way, Tainari, my grandfather was so happy to see you. You are a descendant of the Veluca Shuna, and we are the heirs to the will of Hermanubis. The story goes that King Deshret chose the sage Hermanubis from among the Tainarians and appointed him as his familiar. He went on to fight many valiant battles with his Tainarian companions. They always stood by each other, from the founding of the Temple of Silence to the fall of Tuletula. The Tainarians who left Tuletula joined their human counterparts in the rainforest. A few centuries later, in all likelihood, those were...
How fascinating. My father once mentioned that I was named after the Tainarians, but I never knew that my forebears had such a history with the Temple of Silence.
I like this story.
By the way, has anyone seen Cyrus?
Ah, yes. Cyrus. You'll probably find him in my grandfather's room. He wouldn't show it.
If it's true that you and your grandfather really planned for everything to turn out this way, then I guess he didn't really resent Cyrus as much as he appeared to.
Who knows? Perhaps all of us. You, me, and Cyrus. We're all just pawns in my grandfather's plan to set things straight.
Someone's got to make the decisions when history is at a crossroads. I will make a detailed report on all of this to Lesser Lord Kusanali, and arrange for an official delegation from the Academia to come and meet you in the desert. I'm sure you'll have lots to attend to in the days ahead. If we're going to work together,
I will. All right, well...
See you soon. Come hang out with us anytime.
Rev the engines!
What were you thinking gallivanting off into the desert alone at your age? What if you take the bucket, You told not a soul what you were up to, designated nobody to handle your affairs, and left everyone scrambling frantically to try and figure out how on earth to clean up the colossal mess you'd made.
Oh, please, will you stop your yelling?
What do you mean, what other choice? Do you mean to tell me that after all your years of learning, and sagehood no less, the one-man suicide mission, That's the best idea that one of the finest minds of a generation could come up with, is it? It astounds me that you survived the journey, and you're lucky that Ba Moon didn't finish you—
All right, all right. Honestly, the way you're going off on me, it's...
I've got nothing.
What do you mean, bag of bones? I'm a flesh and... Okay, look. Fine, I admit it, I was in the wrong. How can I make it up to you? What about, a month's work at the Academia?
Hinari's master is really laying into Cyrus. Let's give them a wide berth.
Professor brought this on himself.
Wow, I haven't seen Master get this riled up in a long time. The last time he chewed someone out like this must have been back when I was still a student.
I think I'll go around and update everyone. Tell them the situation's resolved. We can go for dinner afterwards.
Makes sense.
Hyman's coming too!
Hey, Kale.
You're back! Well, look who we have here. Would you mind explaining to me what has been going on this past few days? I heard you all ran off into the desert and got embroiled in a major catastrophe.
All taken care of.
That does not answer my question. How could you be so careless? That goes for you as well. Yes, and you too. When you run into problems, you really ought to ask for help, you know? I've been around the block. Don't you think it would have made sense to involve me? And let's not forget, I know the desert like the...
Now would not be a good time to attempt to argue with Farazan.
You're right.
Mm-hmm. It's not the first time that I've had to talk to you about this sort of thing either. You need to learn that there are times when the right thing to do is get a more experienced member of staff involved. Do I make myself clear? Because...
Kale, please do something.
He's giving me the signal. All right, guess it's time to play my ace in the hole.
Say, Madame Farazan, I can see you're pretty upset, but, I was just wondering, remember that time you offered to give me a tour of the academia?
Huh? Wait, did I hear that right? Kale, you remember? Wonderful. Well, of course the offer still stands. Come on, Madame Farazan will show you.
Poor Kale getting dragged off like that. Also, check out Farazan acting like some sort of official academia tour guide.
Kale, cup.
Huh? What?
What do you mean, cup? You need a cup.
Oh, it's nothing. Just Master's way of reminding me to stay hydrated while I'm out and about.
It's code for let's reconvene at the cafe. Tighnari and I used it while we were in school, and it's become something of a family tradition now.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. 2 people left. Let's bring them along too. Am I hallucinating? Or do I see Kaveh and Alhaitham engaged in diligent studying?
We're just reorganizing all the books we used. Look, there's a whole mountain of them.
There's no rush. Nobody reads these books anyway.
My sincere thanks to you both.
Yes, with your help, we resolved the issue rather swiftly and painlessly. And the outcome was better than we could have hoped for.
I see. The Temple of Silence resorted to rather unique means of self-preservation. It explains how they managed to
And it sounds like they managed to preserve a whole load of ancient documents as well.
That day will come. The Temple of Silence is a hugely... Now, as a token of my appreciation.
Yeah, sounds great. Although after the last...
Sure.
Full throttle!
And then the Traveler just pounced on their opponent and knocked him right out. Then there was Tighnari. He put up an amazing fight too. We ended up winning all 3 bouts.
Whoa! Part of me wishes I'd been there to see it, but I'd have been biting my nails off worrying about you guys.
A truly edifying account of the events.
Hey, Paimon included all the juicy details. The Traveler just pounced and then waved their sword like this, then spun around and blocked.
Despite winning 3 bouts in a row, you still ceded the position of leader to him. That's very dignified of you, Cyno.
Of course. Being dignified comes with being a true champion.
I got to be a champion too for once. I've not sparred much with desert folk before. It was a pretty unique experience.
Yeah, huge place. It felt like something right out of an epic poem. Imagine this. It was like there was...
Maybe save that one for later, Paimon. Dessert's here.
I think that'll do me for today.
Shall we stop off at the House of Dana again before heading home?
My thoughts exactly. See you around.
I should get going as well. See you all later. Make sure you get some good rest tonight.
I need to go say thanks to the Core 30 for their help. Also, Sir Nephis says he wanted to introduce me to some of the Academia's work processes.
Kale's come a long way. She's much more confident at dealing with other people these days.
Everyone's a work in progress. You never stop learning.
Yeah, true.
That was good. It feels like everything's finally wrapped up now. Life is all about these moments when you can finally relax and hang out with good friends after a job well done.
Do you three have anything planned for the rest of the day? If not, would you come somewhere with me? That's a secret for now.
Okay. I think I can guess what you're talking about.
Well, now Paimon's curious.
Been a while since I last made my way up here.
Wow, look at this place! We're so high up!
Need any help?
It's a nice spot, isn't it?
What a great view! We're so high up, we can see for—
Traveler, turn around. This is my secret base. Somewhere, when I was a student, I used to slip away and climb up here all the time, just to clear my head. Back then, I had a lot of the same questions that Sethos was asking. Our gifts help us to find our rightful place in the world. That was my experience. And I'm sure Sethos will figure things out in his own time, too.
You two really are like brothers.
I feel the same way. Of course. I see no need to be humble when it comes to the facts.
I still remember one time when we came up here to chat and do our homework. Cyno accidentally dropped a fruit. Luckily, he has fast reflexes, so he caught it just in time.
That was the one and only time. Nothing will ever slip through my fingers again.
Those were good times. I kinda miss the student life.
You know, Paimon really shouldn't be able to imagine Cyno doing something like that, but for some strange reason, the mental image is coming through clear as day.
Then make it stop. There's somebody there. It's Professor Cyrus. You guys carry on without me.
Okay.
Huh? Hey, you're not supposed to jump down! Be careful!
Oh my days. I can't believe how—
Professor, what are you muttering to yourself about?
Cyno, just the man I'm looking for. Guess what I found in some old notebooks?
Some old photos?
Can you believe it? This notebook was just sitting in a pile of odds and ends. I was at the academia earlier to discuss my work. Oh, time flies. Look how tiny you are in this picture.
You look quite young yourself. Ah, it's this one. I remember that. Lisa took it.
Yep. Looks like her work, all right. Who else could have found just the right angle to make me look so unbelievably hideous?
And this one. Looks like we're both dozing off.
Oh, cheeky girl. Taking secret—
Is there something you'd like to say to me, Professor?
Like what? Like, these are good— Hey, at moments like this, I hardly know where to begin. I can't pretend I'm a good person. But Moon had every reason to despise me. And well, so do you if you feel the same way.
Don't be ridiculous, you old codger.
Is that not what you wanted me to say? Oh, I've dreamt of that place many times after leaving the desert. Sometimes I've dreamed that I was doing research with him again. And other times, I dream of the day they saved my life. Oh, it was one of the happiest times of my life. You've matured so much over the years, Cyno.
Since you're my professor, I should save you some face by not calling you out on all the non-answers you just gave.
Good thinking. Take your own advice next time. Seriously, why bully an old man like me? I thought heroes were supposed to be great. Hey, wait, how did I not notice this one earlier?
Lisa strikes again. Just how many did she take?
Look how cute you were when you were little. I remember how well-mannered you were back then, too.
Yeah, and look how serious and professional you used to be.
Oh, I can't compete with you anymore. First you get better than me at the deadpan jokes, and now...
Don't say that.
Hey, what would you say to meeting up with Lisa again sometime?
I'd like that. Let's find a time and pay her a visit in Mondstadt.
All right, I'll add it to my schedule. Let's go next week. Wait, no. Next week is the tomato growing competition. I have got to beat Zaha Hadid.
Or you could find a real hobby.